Between now and 1, a very special studio guest. A great pleasure to welcome into the ZB studio the CEO of the One New Zealand Warriors, Cameron George. He'll take your questions on 0800 80 1080 or text them through to 9292. I've got a bunch here to ask him. I know you will have as well. Cam George, welcome into ZB, mate. Great to see you.
Thanks, Jason. It's great to be here, mate. Really grateful for your support and everyone else's support, and it's nice to come and have a chat to you and the fans, and looking forward to it.
All right. Well, like I say, I've got a few things to cover off. I want to actually just jump straight in with the big news last week, the signing of James Fisher-Harris to the One New Zealand Warriors. Can you take us through? I think it was a week ago, wasn't it? Last Sunday night that this kind of happened, or the start of it happened. Can you take us through what happened? Yeah, look,
there's a number of things that happen very, very quickly, but the reality is Sunday afternoon, I got a phone call. Would we consider James Fisher-Harris? And look, when you get offered players or you start to talk to players, there's a number of things that usually happen, and for us, probably our biggest challenge is getting players to move to New Zealand. For various reasons, but none greater than leaving family and leaving friends and that support that they have and so on. And so normally we would go through a process, flying the player and his wife or whoever over, have a weekend here, hope and pray it doesn't rain, have some lunch with them, or in Webby's case, dinner in the middle of the viaduct so everyone can see it when he took Kurt Catewell out. But normally we try and do it discreetly and privately. It's really important to us that we do that. And then they go home and they think about it and they talk to their family, talk to their friends, and then they get all confused and ring us about 2 weeks later and say, look, we just can't make the move. So, we're no further down the track. But on this instance, he's a player that's born and bred in New Zealand, very proud Kiwi, leads our national team, has been in Sydney since he was 15, and wants to come home. So your first big question was answered. Our first big challenge wasn't there. So when you have a player wanting to do the opposite and come home, and when we're looking for a replacement of big Adam Fanua-Blake, when you've got a coach that's coached him before, and when you've got the Kiwi coach that's coached him and will continue to coach him in the Kiwi team, the discussion was very easy. Respectfully, Panthers considered it, gave us permission to talk to him on Monday morning, and from that point, it just escalated to where we agreed to terms on Tuesday afternoon. I was on a plane Wednesday morning into Sydney. Andrew McFadden and I met with James and his lovely wife, Nat, and his manager, and I was on a plane back Wednesday night with a signed contract. And it all, exploded as I was getting to the airport and getting on a plane, so I sort of missed everything. I think I had 87 messages and about 45 or 40 odd voice messages to ring press back and all that sort of thing when I got off at midnight. But it was fast, it was respectful, it was professional, and it was what everyone wanted. So that's what made the difference with this one.
Could you ever have imagined that a player of that calibre, the Kiwis captain, one of the best props in the game, would pick up a phone and call the Warriors rather than the other way around?
Doesn't normally happen. Usually when they venture off to the eastern states of Australia and settle into, the way of living in Sydney or in Queensland, not many of them really want to come back during their career. But James is such a special character. His family mean everything to him, and they're still here, and he's very connected to, the culture. And a very important leader around that and for the Kiwis. And he, in his own words, wants to give back to the game in New Zealand that's given him so much. And I can really see him taking the leadership role of the Kiwis to another level. And so when you've got that, it doesn't happen too often, but when it does happen, we've got to grab it with both hands, and which we did this week, and we're privileged and proud about. But now we move on for the rest of the year, him at Penrith and us here.
So with such a short time frame, when did you let the playing group know?
On Wednesday, sent him a text message. Apologised firstly that I couldn't be there in person to tell him. A few of the senior guys and Webby had a chat. So I sent an email to the staff from the while I was waiting for James to sign the contract while I was sitting in the room, and that's how tight we held it. But we trust our staff, we trust our players. We always tell them beforehand. But because it moved so quickly and I didn't know, you never know until it's happened. And so I couldn't give them that confirmation until I got to Sydney, and as it was happening, they all knew before anyone else, and it was held very tight. And that's how our organisation is, and that's how we live. We're transparent with our staff and players, and we trust them around that, and that's why they get that information.
So when he arrives, what sort of groundwork do you need to do now, in fact, in terms of helping him find somewhere to live, schools for his kids, that sort of thing? Does the club get heavily involved in that sort of thing? Yeah,
we're there to help any player, whether it's James Fisher-Harris or Kurt Capewell or Mitch Barnett. We've got a very good system in place where we help off international relocators. We have to be good at that, because if we're not, no one's going to come here. But we do a really good job, which I'm really proud of. Our staff are always willing and able to help. I've done house inspections, and I've done unit inspections in the city, FaceTiming players and their wives and showing them around and all sorts of different things. And so we everyone puts their hands on the wheel to help there. But in terms of James and that, we'll be here to help, but it's now focused moving on and letting him do his thing. And the lucky thing for James, he's got family here too that'll help. So, but we're here. Yeah, we do a good job.
All right. So James Fisher-Harris is a Warrior for the next 4 years, starting in 2025. Has that led to other players and agents expressing an interest to either come to the Warriors or stay with the Warriors?
I expect over time there'll be some interest for sure. Like this club is really making some serious headway and progress into the development and pathways. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of kids out there, because of the NRL experience they're getting now, are wanting to come and play in our Warriors system, because for the first time in our club's history, we have teams from under 17s right through to NRL. So we are equal footing it now with every other NRL club. So we're very serious about it. Andrew McFadden is in charge of that, and his experience alone will tell you how much emphasis we're putting on good coaching, good development, good pathways. And, yesterday our Harold Matthews team, first time, in our club's history we've had one, under 17s, beat the undefeated Bulldogs team to get into the grand final next week. So it's huge for us. And what players like James Fisher-Harris and Tohu Harris and Mitch Barnett and Wade Egan and Sean Johnson, kids want to be them, and they start to think about it. They start to play the game at their local level. They aspire to be a Warrior now because we have the pathway system to get them there, where before we've never had that. So are the phones ringing? No. But are our numbers through the roof in terms of kids wanting to play for the Warriors? Absolutely. We've got academies all around the country, and this is what these top elite players do. They attract kids to come and wear the jumper, and ultimately what we want is them to play for the Kiwis and use our platform to get there. And if we get more and more through our system to do that, how good's rugby league going to be in this country? Indeed,
indeed. Our guest in Studio Tour 1 is One New Zealand Warriors CEO Cameron George. Want to come back to recruitment? Your calls and questions are welcome. 0800 80 1080 9292 on text. You became CEO of the Warriors in 2017. I found a quote from you from 2018, which I'd like to read to you. It was about running a successful sporting organisation. And you said, "It's about not overanalyzing what we are. We're just a footy club. Sure, we're a proactive organisation in the commercial space, but if we get our core business right, which is winning games, then everything feeds off that. We're a footy team. It's about signing quality players in the right positions, getting them fit, winning more than we lose, and making sure every fan goes home proud." That was from 2018. Do those words still ring true to you?
Yeah, we are. We're just a footy club, and we don't need to overanalyse it. We sign good people that can play footy. We have the right people in the right roles doing good jobs, and we have a good time. And the thing is, we work our butts off to try and win more games than we lose with effort. And when you're doing that, your whole business goes to another level. When you're not doing that, and I've experienced this part, you cop it left, right and centre because of the passion from the fans and the media are all over you and so on. So it's pretty simple business. You get the best people in the best roles, and that's on and off the field, and win footy games. From that, we can get creative with our brands and we can get creative with our game day experiences and all that, but that's the core of what we should be doing first and foremost.
I want to ask you about your fan engagement as well. Every club, I think, says they want to be fan-focused. They want to be fan-centric. They want to put the fans in the middle of everything they do. It's a bit of a holy grail, I think, for a lot of teams, and a lot of teams don't achieve it. The Warriors actually do it. What are the key planks to your fan engagement strategy? So
when we come back from that time we spent away, again, not overanalyzing what we wanted to do, I'm not a big corporate person in terms of, strategy documents and all that. I keep it pretty simple. It's the only way I can manage myself. And the two words we use is reconnect and re-engage with the country. And I let the team go away and build their plans around those two outcomes. And to the credit of the quality of a staff that we have in our organisation, keeping it simple, we just started to develop a way forward with re-engaging and reconnecting with everyone. How do we do that? We do it through community, we do it through our game day experiences, we do it through our partnerships and memberships, and we just let the staff build their own business sort of cases around achieving that. So it's not hard, but when we get the best people doing great things, which we have in our organisation through digital content, through social media, through our commercial partnerships, through our game day experience, membership engagement, the fans start to really come close to you and they start to lift you to go to a higher level. They ask you to go and be bold, be brave. And I love that with our staff. They are. I said, do not come to me with boring shit. I want excitement. I want fun. I want you to be bold and brave. I want other people to look at us and go, they can do it. How did they come up with that? Why did they do it? How did they do it? But I just love the fans engaging with us at a high level. So it started as simple as that business case. Often liken fan engagement to pushing a boulder up a hill.
It takes a lot of work. You push it up, you might slip back a little bit, things get in your way, but you get to the top of the hill and you push it over and it becomes a juggernaut. And I feel like that's what the Warriors are now. You can't get a ticket to watch this team play. Up and down the country and across Australia, up the Wars has become this catch cry. Was there a moment or a point in time where you think you pushed that boulder over the top of the hill?
No, never ever do we want to think we have. Our fans mean so much to us, and the passion of the fans is just unbelievable. And it's a privilege to be in this role. It's a privilege to work at the One New Zealand Warriors, whether you're a player or a staff member. But the one thing we don't do is take it for granted. We quite often have a chat about, hey guys, don't sit on your hands. I need better. We need to be better. And we've just got, I can't talk highly enough of our staff. And look, one of them is Thomas Harris. So we might, talk about him. He's extremely passionate. He goes over and beyond his call of duty to make sure all of his corporates are well looked after. He nothing but great feedback. He's one of about 30 or 40 people in that organisation that do it all the time. And I'm so proud of him and can't do it without him. But the one thing I know about all of our staff, they're enjoying the good times, but they're not taking it for granted. We can be so much better. They know we can be so much better. So there hasn't been one point in time where we believe we've become a juggernaut. We believe we are doing well, but we're going to get better and better and better. And I can assure you, whatever fan of sport you are out in the country, you'll want a ticket to the Warriors because our creative innovation and aggressive and bold thinking to be better is going to be seen over the next few years in sport in New Zealand.
Do you think you need a bigger stadium?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. The key is here, buy early. If you want to come to our games, just buy a ticket early and come and enjoy it. Whether it's you're buying a ticket in July or not, doesn't matter. Just buy a ticket, lock it away, come and join us. I think you can get, too above yourself, and I think you can get too ambitious in terms of what you think you can pull crowd-wise. I would rather have 26,000 people there screaming and yelling, proud as punch, to know they've come wearing their jumpers from 95 or 2002 or 2019 or 2024. It doesn't worry us. They're all one big happy family. And rather than have 10,000 empty seats, I just love the fact that it's just exciting to be there. So grab your tickets, get in early, and that's what it should be. Just
before we go to a break, got a question here from a listener. Stadium sells out for home games every week, but sometimes season ticket holders don't come. Can the club set up a gift back scheme so tickets can be easily transferred back to the club for resale? Is that something that you've thought about?
Yeah, it is. It is a consideration we're trying to do. Look, it's a hard one because there's a balance between having growth in your membership, but it also takes away your retail sales on game days and so on. So we're working through any number of options to improve the presence of the membership holders first and foremost. But look, I know members that are members of the club that live in Melbourne or live in Australia, but they buy 2 tickets at the start of the year because they want to support their club, but their seats are empty, or they give them to their mates, or their mates don't take them, whatever it be. But there's no real sort of bulletproof system that will have the stadium filled in every seat. Weather's a big thing. So there are systems out there we are looking at for that purpose of an on-sell scenario.
George, question here on text. Cam, great job you're doing. Just wondering how many scouts we have at the Warriors looking for talent.
Yeah, we have eyes and ears everywhere, official or not official. But there's plenty of people wanting to tip us off about kids. Look, Andrew McFadden and his team have got people planted all around the country. I would say we'd have a dozen people in New Zealand. But we also, through those contacts, they will get phone calls about particular kids. In Australia, we've got people on the lookout as well. It's something that doesn't stop in your business.
Another one through on text. Question for Cam. Do you see a real opportunity for rugby league to be the most popular winter sport in New Zealand, or will we always be a rugby country? I know this is a hot topic around the place.
I do, absolutely. I do. I absolutely believe rugby league can be, the number one sport in New Zealand, and that'll come through the Kiwis doing a great job, us doing a fantastic job, and our community presence all around the country. It's a lot of hard work, don't get me wrong. We'll never beat the All Blacks. Like they and nor should we. Them and the Kiwis should be the most respected national teams in this competition. In their competitions, in their sports, and I do. I respect the All Blacks like you wouldn't believe. But in terms of week-to-week competitions, such as Super Rugby, NRL, yes, we'll win and we'll get there and we'll keep going. And we might be up against 6 or 7 franchises, but I can assure you through all of our work, and we've got a few, big surprises we're working on over the next few years.
Andrew Webster, can you articulate his impact on this club?
In part, I can. Webby's I've heard so many different ways of people trying to explain Webby, but Webby's just himself. I've seen a lot of people try and be someone they're not, at different times. And I'm not just relating to football here, rugby league. Just in general, people try and be someone you're not. And when you can be yourself and be really successful and happy with what attributes you have, and then you go and impose those around your workplace, you'll nail anything. You'll be successful all the time. And that's Webby. He's authentic. He's genuine. And I'm sure, when you talk to him, you'll feel that. And he's always been like that. He's never not been someone that he shouldn't be. And I think that is the genuineness and the authenticity that the players are really relating to. Like me, he keeps it pretty simple. Our discussions are pretty direct and pretty simple. We don't try and get too cute with what we need to say and how we say it. We know the outcome we need, and I trust him with my world and vice versa. Me, him and Cappy are so close in every discussion and everything we do around the joint. And I'm just really happy for Webby that he's grown in the role, but he, like everyone else in the organisation, knows that there's a long way to go and we can be better. And he's just consistently great at his job day in, day out with honesty and authenticity, and that's what's working for him. And the minute I see that change, I'll kick him in the arse because it's working for him and he'll continue to get better with experience too. That's the other thing. He's still experiencing first-timers, you know. So long way to go, but just as a club, we're lucky to have him, Rich Agar, Slade Griffin, Stacey Jones as a unit, and I know he leans on them and I know he loves coaching with them, and he will never think it's him. He would always think it's them as a group. So
is he, and you talk about that triangle of yourself, Andrew McFadden, head of recruitment, and Andrew Webster. Is it an environment in which you can challenge one another?
Yeah, shit, yeah. We carry on at each other, absolutely. But it's there, said and done, and move on. And it's only opinions. It's not like we're questioning anyone's capability here. It's just I have a different view, or they might have a different view, or you know, whatever it be. But it's only an opinion. It's, as I said, the most important thing. We're not talking about their capabilities. They're absolutely terrific operators, innovative thinkers, and just want the best outcome. So our chats are funny, to be honest. We can talk some serious shit in some quite funny ways, and we just get on with it. We don't have a board. We have a chair in Kenny Rainsfield, and our owner Mark Robinson. We just link him in when we need to, and he loves it too. We're just such an efficient thinking tank, and we're so blessed to have that because the trust is so big.
Do you critique the rugby league? Do you critique the nuts and bolts of the way the team plays with Andrew Webster?
Well, it's funny. They do take the piss out of me a bit on this basis, that I always try and come up with a scrum play or something like that I see, and I think, I reckon I could add my touch to that. And quite often I'll get a whiteboard out and they start laughing, but I soon know my place. Webby's a coach. Cappy knows more than me, well, he claims to. And I'll have a view on players, mate, but look, they are on a different planet, the coaches, when you get into the detail of players. I would think player A is doing really well, and they'll give me a 2-minute reason why they're not, and I'll look at it and I'll go, how did I not even see that? So they're experts, and I love the team we've got, our players and our coaching staff. They're just the best people, and I know they're doing the best they can for our fans.
So your contact presumably is daily. You see him, chat to him every day, pretty much?
Yeah, 100%. We talk all the time. I just had a missed call from Webby right now, actually. There you go. He might have just got out of bed. But
I'm surprised he's not listening to you.
Yeah, all the time. Cappy's office is straight opposite me. Webby walks past my office, in the office, and we're always talking, chatting. It could be even as 10 o'clock at night. Webby might think of something, give me a call. We're always available. We're in it for each other, and we're in it to win for our club and our fan base. And we've just got the best, strongest, trusted relationship, which that's why I feel really proud of our club.
Recruitment is the topic I think that most of our listeners sent in questions about and wanted to know about. I'll get to specifics in a moment, but does the club have an overarching recruitment philosophy?
Yeah, good people. That's, you do your work at that point, that right at the start. If you get the best person and we go and engage with the best people who can play footy, when we have tough times, our club's going to get through them. When you don't get the best people into those roles, that's when we have problems. And we've seen it in the past, and hopefully we don't see it in the future, it's making sure we find the right people first. Clearly the talent's always going to be there, but they've got to be professional. They've got to be, buying into, the club way, the identity of the club. And when you get those types of people ticking those boxes, you'll go to another level. And if you look at all of our recruitments over the last couple of years, they're all competitors. They're terrific people. They're family orientated. For those that have families, they're club orientated. They are just here to win for New Zealand. And there's a consistent philosophy around that, or consistent attributes around all of our recruitment. And that's what it is. Best people first and foremost.
Do you think that, and I'm not going to use the Warriors specifically here, but do you think a high-performing sports team can survive one dickhead?
No, not at all. You put one dickhead in your office, doesn't have to be a high-performance team, and you're going to have the same problems. Everywhere you go, unless you're a one-man show, you've got a team of people there, and you put a troublemaker in there that undermines your whole plan, your thinking, your outcomes that you want to achieve. In our case, it's weekly, and it's trust. It's all about trust. Our whole club is all about trust, because you need to trust. If we talk about on the field, you need to trust the person beside you is going to make that tackle, otherwise you're going to come out of the line. You need to trust the person when he's lining up in front of 26,000 people to slot a field goal, that he can do it. You just need to do your job to get him that opportunity. I need to trust people in the office and empower them. They need to trust me in tough times, and so on. So you can't have one dickhead, because that trust gets diluted to the point where you then compromise your whole performance and organisational culture, which is difficult to get back once you lose it.
When you're recruiting, you can look at a tape of a player and say, well, look at the line breaks he's making, look at the passes look at his kicks, look at his run meters, all that stuff. But how do you find out whether a person is a good human being or not?
Yeah, we go through quite an interview process. Like, no one comes into our organisation regardless of the level. I'm talking footy players, without Webby having a one-on-one with them. Cappy and I might have general chats. I'll talk to the agents in detail about a lot of stuff. Cappy will talk to the player, their parents. We get to know their family, and particularly the ones that move from offshore to here. They need to trust us, and they need to know who we are. So when the young fella gets in trouble, or the young fella's away from home for the first time, they need to trust that they've got good support and good people around them. And so that relationship building process starts very early, and Cappy does a wonderful job along with his staff with families in New Zealand itself. We went and met a Christchurch family not so long ago with a young kid, and he had 16 clubs chasing him, 16 clubs. And you can imagine the trips and the lattes and the kit they were getting from every club around to move him offshore. And we went down there, and I said, I'm not talking to you about your son and his football. I said, I just want your son to be a kid. He was only 14. I said, in 2 years' time, he might want to play rugby league. So our job here is to make sure that we fulfil any potential if he wants to, and we've got the right pathways. But our job is to make sure that we treat your son like your son, and not treat him like a footballer at 14 years of age. I said he could be still playing with Lego in a year's time, for all we know. And that connection with the family allowed them to trust us that their son was going to be their son, not a footballer, until he wants to be a footballer. And that's the type of, relationship you've got to have with families, because you're basically taking over their son's career. Which is, we take it very, very seriously.
You're talking with Sean Johnson about 2025?
I'll leave that to Webby. That's one, there's a few there you just leave to Webby. Their connection's so tight, so strong. It's a little bit like last year. We kept getting asked and asked and asked. Sean will decide when he wants to decide, and if that's in line with what Webby's thinking, and they'll talk. They talk every week about it. I'm sure the events of what happened this week probably sparks his interest, but I'm sure Sean at the same time is only thinking about winning on Anzac Day, which is the professionalism of him. But he's always going to be a part of our club.
And in terms of priorities, when you're looking at players coming off contract, because there's a bunch of them coming off contract at the same time, not all at the same time, but how do you prioritise who you speak to in a salary capped environment? How do you do that? How do you put all these pieces of the jigsaw together? Yeah,
it's a lot of consideration for Cappy. That's his job, that's his focus, and I know he's looking out to 28 as we speak and strategising around how we get there, why we keep certain players opposed to letting other players stay on the market for longer, who to sign up now for 1 year or 3 years. And he's also got to take in consideration at the same time the kids coming through the system, because there's no use having a development pathway system if we're not going to utilise it. We can't always just get people offshore over. We'll have people come, but probably not in the numbers. Good clubs, from my experience and my observations, are ones that can develop from within. And we've started that process very seriously this year. And we've, as I touched on before, really proud that our 17s got in the grand final, and they could be our first real crop coming through. So good luck to Cappy, because he's playing the stock market with about 100 players within our club, let alone what's offshore. So he does a great job. He's such a thinker about all this stuff and has plans afoot. And me and Webby and him often talk about it. And Webby and him talk a little bit more detail around it. And, he's got a handle on it. It's better him than me.
Just before we go to the break, is one of the names on his whiteboard Jet Cleary? Son of Ivan, younger brother of Nathan?
Oh, look, that's one thing we can be proud about our club is we never talk about individuals, as you know from this week. And but geez, it'd be it could be something if it was true, but who knows? New
Zealand Warriors in studio with us. All right, question through from the CEO of your naming sponsor, One New Zealand, Jason Paris. You'll be familiar with Jason Paris.
Absolute legend.
Right, here's his question. Will you commit to hosting a sponsors trip if the team gets chosen to play in Vegas?
Absolutely, guaranteed. Absolutely. As long as he wears his Warriors shoes that he's got, and I hope he tweets a picture of them now, because they are the craziest pair of shoes. I love them. I'm getting a pair. I'm just waiting for them to arrive. But if he wears them, he's guaranteed a front seat on the plane.
Would you like to go to Vegas?
I think it'll be a good experience. Look, it's just us playing our part in the NRL growth, and every club's going to have to do it, whether they think we're the right fit for year two or they want to keep us back for later in the process, because we're going to bring a whole new crowd to the games over there. But look, we're just got to be and play our part as part of the growth strategy for the NRL, and every team's on board to do it.
Text through here, I'll just read out to you, Piney. With management of that quality at the top of the Warriors, it's no wonder they're successful. Look, I couldn't agree more. But I do want to.
Thanks, Mum.
Yeah, she always listens, and my parents are the same. Great question here. It's obvious Cam has a passion for the club. Is it worth asking? And I will. What went wrong for so many years? Maybe not. Well, I'm going to ask it. I have. Should we have been where we are now 5 years ago?
Well, that was the intention. In 2020, we had an NRLW team, which we're bringing back in 25. We had an SG ball team. We started building the pathways that underpin NRL success. So that was the intention. Clearly, that went by the wayside due to COVID. And prior to that, I would say our biggest challenge as a club was the instability around key roles. So we had any number of owners up until that stage. I think we've been through 9 coaches, and we've had a large, shift and change in management and CEOs and the likes. But now with Mark Robinson at the helm as our owner, one of the most passionate, loyal men I've ever met, and this club should be proud to have. He just wants to do it so hard, so bad for New Zealand, that he's investing in all this stuff. A lot of it's his own pocket money. So, we as a club are managing it as best we can, but we're rebuilding it to a point where we should have been there probably about 3 to 4 years ago, is where we could have been where we're at now. But that's happened, and we're into it now, and we're onwards and upwards, and we're looking forward to the future.
Yeah, speaking of the future, next year your women's side returns to the NRLW, a 5-year absence, obviously COVID in there, an expanded 12-team competition. How big a boost is having the women's team back?
Yeah, it's awesome. Really excited about that. We've got Nadine Conlon. She's our boss of the women's space. She's a legend, and she's done a great job at New Zealand Rugby League and with us, and yeah, we're very excited about that, and it's no different to the guys. We want to win the competition. We want to have the best players wearing our colours and want to make our fans proud, which they will, and we'll be ready to win next year. We're not building. We're going to be recruiting to win the competition. So very excited about this opportunity, and hopefully been chasing NRL to try and put on an NRLW Magic round in Auckland. I feel like New Zealand should own it. It's a great market for it, so it'd be a really great opportunity for the women's game if we can achieve that. So I've been at it for about 18 months now.
All right, we'll keep our eyes on that. A couple of quick ones to finish. I'm interested in how you spend home games. Where do you watch from? And do you get to watch the game, or are you shaking too many hands?
Yeah, I try and do the handshaking and all that sort of stuff beforehand. But once the players come out to warm up, I'm pretty well. I get sort of in the zone a little bit, and I just want to sit quietly and watch it, and because it's a big build up. Any game, like the whole week goes, you get over the result of the week before, good or bad, and then you start to build up to the week. As soon as the team gets named, you're starting to build, and by the time you get to kick off, you're quite emotionally attached to the outcome, and the outcome does dictate a little bit what your next 48 hours is going to be. Good or bad, whether we're going to cop it from you blokes or all of a sudden you're on our bandwagon. I don't know. I get confused, but I like the guys that stick solid through thick and thin.
Well, there's a few of those. And to be fair, there has been a bit of thin. But, I feel like the last couple of seasons have been the reward for those.
I'm only talking about the media.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the fans.
No, they stick solid.
They do. How much did 2023 increase the expectations for 2024?
It did. It gave us a base level that I feel like is appropriately set for our fans and us to understand. That's what we need to be every week, and need to be better than that year on, year out. And we recruit on the back of that, and we're ambitious on the back of that. But our base level has really improved to a threshold now that I think our fans know when they're coming through the gates or buying tickets or turning the TVs on through Sky Sport, that they're going to watch a team they're going to be proud about. And that's something that Webby's passionate about. Tohu Harris, one of our greatest leaders, is passionate about amongst all of his playing group. And I am. And I'm excited about what the future holds.
Can you win the comp?
Without a doubt, that's our plan. We don't go into any footy game without wanting to win. We don't go into any season without wanting to win the grand final. But there are steps along the way you got to achieve to get there. And the first step for us is be consistently good. Second step is getting the finals, and then don't hold back thereafter. And then we can have a beer.
Yeah, oh, mate, just tell me where to be and at what time. If you put the invitation out to the Warriors fan base, you might have an empty wallet at the end of it. Great to see you, mate. Thanks for coming in. We've had so much feedback on text about how good it's been to have you here for an hour or so. All we can do is wish you all the best for 2024 and beyond.
Appreciate it, mate, and just want to shout out to all of our fans. I know it's been tough going, and we haven't got it 100% right yet, but with the support of everyone around this country, we just want to make New Zealand proud, and that comes from the owner right through to me and Webby and the Tohu Harrison team. So stick on and let's go to Anzac Day. It's going to be a special day at Go Media Stadium against the Titans.
Great to see you, mate. Thanks for pulling in.
Thanks.
Cameron George, One New Zealand Warriors CEO. Great pleasure to have him in studio with us for the entire hour. 7-1 Newstalk ZB.